ရပါတယ်
Thank you very much. We will now turn over to Bo-sang, who will provide a question.
မင်္ဂလာပါမေတွေ့ရတာရန်ဝမ်းသာပါတယ်ကျွန်တော်နာမည်ဘူဆန်းပါခင်ဗျလူမျိုးပေါင်းစုံပါနေလို့အင်္ဂလိပ်လိုပဲပြောပြရစီ Hello man, very nice to meet you. My name is Busan, coming from Myanmar. Now I'm a PhD student in the Graduate School of Agriculture in Chengdu University. I'm really proud to be here in such an excellent university that you joined as a visiting researcher in 1985 when I was born. In Myanmar, I'm working at the Forest Department under the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environmental Conservation. My question is about current peacemaking process. Our country, Myanmar, is on the march of democracy, and so there's a long way to go. On our road to democracy, one important issue is national reconciliation, especially with ethnic groups. Since 60 years ago, Myanmar governments, previous governments, have struggled to create a unity of all the ethnic groups, but unfortunately, that goal has not been achieved yet. We know that you are now trying to solve this very difficult problem through a series of meetings such as the Union Peace Conference 21st Century Panel. In this peacemaking process, you have to negotiate with the military leaders on the one hand and ethnic group leaders on the other hand. I think this is very tough. So my question is, what is the biggest challenge for you to negotiate as a leader between the national army and ethnic groups?
It's the same really. It's mutual understanding and confidence. The reason why people fight is because they don't believe in each other. It's because they think that they have to preserve and defend themselves. They don't believe that the others, the other side or other sides, in our case we have many ethnic armed groups involved in the peace process, that they do not believe that the others will defend their rights. So it's a matter of mutual confidence, building up understanding, building up the kind of approach where you think of the good of the country as a whole and not of your own organization, of your own group. Now, this is difficult to achieve because we speak very blithely about unity out of diversity. But unity out of diversity is not something that can be implemented just because you want it to be implemented. If you want it to happen, you have to work towards it. And it's a long process. It takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of determination and motivation. We believe that this is possible. And because we believe that this is possible, we work at it with honesty. Now, honesty is very important in such negotiations. If you base your negotiations on deceit, then you will never succeed. You may, for a short time, in the short run, you may be able to achieve some kind of understanding, but it will be broken if you have been dishonest about your motives and what you're prepared to offer. But I've said to the different armed groups that when they come to the peace conference, what they should be thinking about is what they have to contribute towards a peace process, not about what they think they can get out of it. Now, of course, it's human nature always to want to try to get something out of a situation. But that is human nature, and I don't think we should think that this is a great crime. But I think if you live in society, or if you live in a country which has to be built into a true union, then you have to give as well. You have to be prepared to give. It is something basic, but something that we have to repeat again and again, that give and take means you give as well as take. It doesn't mean that you take all and everybody else gives, which some people think it is. So that is what we find most difficult, making people understand that we have to work for the common good and building up confidence and trust in each other.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to turn to Shuzo Tani, please.
Hello, good afternoon, Dr. Aung San Suu Kyi. I'm Shuzo Tani from the School of Government, studying public policy. And from next April, I'll be working in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as a diplomat. And
I have to look at my diplomat.
well, my question today is not about diplomacy, fortunately, maybe. In 2012, I had the great pleasure of meeting a lot of Myanmar youths in the Ship for Southeast Asian Youth program. This is a program sponsored by the Japanese government and has been fostering Japan and ASEAN friendship for more than 40 years. And in this program, which lasted for more than nearly 2 months, I got to meet a lot of Myanmar students and youths, and thought that there were a lot of untapped potential yet in especially the younger generation of Myanmar. And as everyone knows, you have plenty of overseas experience, and as a former researcher and also as a foreign minister, I'd like to ask you what you think is the best way for Myanmar students to promote Myanmar students to study abroad, and also for countries like Japan to better welcome students from overseas. Thank you.
Thank you. The reason why we want to send our students to study abroad is because, as I mentioned earlier, our education system has been very weak for the past half century. And in order to bring up the standard of our education system, we have to depend on outside friends to help us as well. But the real need is to build up the education system within our country. We should go out to the world in order to broaden our vision and to learn more about the world and to learn more about the subjects which are a speciality in certain different places, not just to make up for the weaknesses of our own education system. I have to say that we earlier mentioned the elitism that has been coming into Burma, when the privileged are taught very well because they can send their children to the international school and other expensive private institutions, whereas the poor in the villages are taught very poorly. Now, it worries me that some of our children, the children of privileged families who go to these expensive schools, think that it's a matter of pride not to speak their own language because they're taught in English. And this is something that I find really, truly, truly reprehensible. You should be proud of being able to speak your own language. I want our students and our young people to be proud of their own country, to be proud of their own culture. And then only will they be fit to go abroad and get the best of what the world has to offer them. If they go out to the world thinking that their culture is not something to be proud of, if they go out into the world ashamed of their country and their people, they will not be able to bring back the best that the world has to offer. So that is what I want our students to do. I want them to go out as young people who are proud of their country, who are committed to helping their country to make more progress, and who have gone out to learn what they can learn for the sake of the greater society back home, rather than just for themselves. It's not any particular subject, whether they go out to learn about diplomacy or medicine or suburbanization, which is a very difficult word to get one's tongue around. Whatever it is they go abroad to study, we would like them to study with the intention of bringing it back home for those who have not had the privilege of the opportunity to broaden their horizons.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, we would now like to turn to our final question from Zenta Nishio.
Suchi-san, nice to meet you. My name is Zenta Nishio. I am a PhD student here Asia and African Area Studies. I have been researching about the slum community in Manila, the Philippines. After the World War II, the people migrated from rural province to urban areas, but unfortunately, Philippine government could not afford to provide legal housing to them. This is why in Manila now, tremendous slum community existing there. Then this housing issue come to represent social and economical inequality. Myanmar are now experiencing the large economical growth, 7 to 8% GDP, and the Yangon is really radical urban expansion. The Myanmar is transition to democracy, but there is a country like the Philippines, the rich people more rich, and then there is a possibility to produce more poor people. So the Philippines also, they produce a lot of poor people, even though under the democracy. So this is really a difficult question, but I would like to ask how making a balance between the democracy and the liberal economy is a really deep and difficult issue. How do you think for the future of Myanmar and the future of the common people, how should we make it a balance, this economy and the democracy for your countries? Thank you.
Well, thank you particularly because you mentioned the problem of affordable housing, which we're having to face in Rangoon in particular. We have to make sure that those who do not have houses should be given homes, but at the same time, we do not want to promote the problem of squatters. So this is an issue that needs a very, very finely balanced solution. But you're talking about the connection between democracy and development. You cannot have one without the other, not in the long run. Democracy will not be sustainable if the people cannot see that democracy means better development for them. Because in the end, it's quite natural that people should opt for a system that offers them the best kind of life possible. I remember listening to a radio program on the BBC a long time ago. This is while I was still under house arrest, so that must have been about 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. I'm not quite sure of the exact date. There was going to be a general election in India. India, as you know, is the largest democracy in the world, and it also has a very high percentage of illiteracy. And in one of those programs, the interviewer had gone down to a village and was asking an ordinary village woman, apparently who was not able to read or write, who had never been to school, and was asking her for which party she was going to vote. And she told the interviewer, I'm going to vote for this particular party. And she was asked, and for which party did you vote in the previous election? And she said, I voted for another party in the previous election and the one before that. But now in this election, I'm going to vote for another one. And the interviewer asked her, why? And she said, well, before the last two elections, that party promised that they would give us running water. They still haven't given us running water. I'm not going to give them a third chance. Now, I like that answer of that woman because maybe she was uneducated in the sense that she had never been to school, but she was very practical. First of all, she didn't like people who did not keep their promises. Neither do I. And so I sympathize with her entirely. And secondly, she didn't think there was any point in voting for a member of parliament who had failed to deliver. And she said, what is the point in my voting for a party which still has not been able to give us running water after about, I think it was 10 years since the first promise was made. So that is very normal, and that is acceptable, that is right. You must make sure that a particular political system that is that you are trying to root into the society will also bring about a better life for the people of the society. We are not working for democracy because it's some kind of ideal theory. It's because we think that is the system that would best enable our country to progress, because it gives the greatest opportunity to the greatest number to be involved in the development process of our country. That is why we want democracy. I think it was Churchill who said that democracy is not such a good system, but the others are even worse. So we have to make do with the best that our human intellect has been able to devise so far, and we believe that it will work. But it will work only if we make sure that it gives our people a chance to live better lives. And I hope that Japan will be helping in this as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Unfortunately,
Am I allowed to cast a question? I think it's only fair.
of course you can. Of course you can cast a question. Please.
Because otherwise it's not a dialogue. So what I would like to ask is this. What is it that interests you about a country like Burma? Is it our politics? Is it our history? Is it our culture? What is it that interests you about my country? Now, whoever among you would like to answer.
Any of you can answer this question. What interests you? Okay, Nishio.
The people, the common people there. Yeah.
Well, can you expand on that a little?
Because I never went to the Myanmar, especially Yangon. I'm urban study. I want to know how, because the media do not show so many, people that detail their livelihood style or their daily experience. It's really difficult to touch through the media. So for me, the Myanmar is really attractive. If I can go there, and then so that is a more daily transition because Myanmar is from the military to the democracy. The transition is really deep. So that is really attractive for their daily transition.
You mean for research purposes?
Maybe the different person should.
Okay, would one other person like to reply?
My interest in Myanmar is, of course, culture, because my research topic is food and culture. So I went to Myanmar and I tasted the food, and also in Japan, my family is a tea farmer, so also the Myanmar people also drink tea a lot, and also they make pickles, like a tea pickle, the lapeto, and I tasted it. The villagers welcomely cooked those with peanuts, and I really loved it. So yeah, my interest is always lie onto the food and people, that how they serve it, and since I could really see how they serve and how they welcome us, so I'm now more interested in to experience more. If I can go back to Myanmar, that would be great. Thank you.
You don't look as if you eat too much, but I'm glad you're interested in food.
I was modest, but thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your time today. Unfortunately, we are a little bit pushed for time, so I would like to bring this session to a close. So first of all, I would like to ask everybody here to offer a very loud applause, please.
I'm afraid I don't always do what I'm supposed to do. I have to say that I object to people being told to applause. I think they should only applause if they wish to, spontaneously.
Would you like to spontaneously applause, please? Now, would it be possible just to ask you to remain here for a moment? What we would like to do now is take a commemorative photo with you and the students, if you don't mind. And also, we would like to offer you a bouquet of flowers. And I'm going to ask Ms. Soyako Harima to offer this to you as a representative from all of the students. This bouquet of flowers is a token of our deep appreciation to you. And it's presented to you on behalf of the Kyoto University Yangon no Seikai. This is a Kyoto University Alumni Association in your country, and it also comes with a message for you. So could I ask Ms. Soyako Harima to pass over the bouquet, please? Okay, and now, would it be possible to ask our president to also come back up to the stage, please, as well? And we would like to take one more photo with our president as well, please. Could I also ask maybe the students also to stand? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much to all of you today for making this a special event.